I found her because they're in a different class. So.
Oh, okay.
But, I'm not. So what did you come up with for the one of the?
Okay, so
But like a little faster.
she's gonna play him.
Everyone. Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
We're having a bit of a technical challenged morning, so we're a little wobbly. There's a good word for it. So thank you everyone for being here. Good morning. I'm Missy Rogers. My pronouns are she and her, and I am your worship associate today. We gather this morning on unceded Lenni Lenape land. We pause to recognize that this land is not our own. Even the breath in our bodies comes from a world before this one. We invite ourselves to greater awareness, openness, and inclusion. Take a moment to look around this room and those who are online. Would you share a hello or hey y'all in the chat so that Nicole Jacobson, our intern minister, can greet you? Okay. Okay. Such a good sound, all that joyful chatter sound. It's a really wonderful sound to hear. Today's service is a reflection on our partnership with Jowai, India and Barot, Transylvania, focusing on our recent trip to Jowai. We give thanks for Jean Crichton, Eric Solberg, and Reverend Dr. Mary Early-Zald, who will share with us this morning. Beacon values inclusion and living into our 8th principle. We have an upcoming opportunity to chat about Mistakes and Miracles, a book that details UU congregational journeys toward anti-racism. And we have 10 free copies to give out today to anyone who can join us on Saturday, May 6th from 1 to 3, lunch included. You can pick up your copy during coffee hour, which will be in Fellowship Hall. I tripped over my tongue on that exact same phrase last service. Something about copy and coffee so close together that just really does it for me. If this is your first or second Sunday here with us, please feel free to come to the front at the end of the service and meet for a brief tour of the facility. I also hope that you noticed the colorful ribbons hanging in the balcony or off the balcony in the lobby. These names represent stewards of Beacon who have made their financial commitment of support to Beacon for the 2023-24 church year. Ribbons of acknowledgement and gratitude for the support of our community. If you have not yet filled out your commitment, we ask you to do that today. The form can be found on the Beacon website in the giving section, and you click on Pledge. Whomever you are, wherever you are, however you came to be here today, we welcome you on this journey of nurturing the human spirit and healing the world. More than a welcome, we invite you to share with us your dreams, your fears, and your visions. Together, let us move toward beloved community.
Good morning. My name is Mary Early-Zald. My pronouns are she, her, and I am the affiliated community minister for this congregation. We join now to light our chalice and ignite our shared faith. Okay, thank you. That's why I love you, Tuli. Together we gather here this morning in physical and virtual space, mindful of flames lit across miles and kilometers, wordless and of many languages, warming ourselves in ever-widening community.
You may notice, beloved, well, first let me introduce myself. I'm Reverend Robin. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm a member of your lead ministry team here. You may notice that some of us are in an attire that is a little different than what we often wear on Sundays. And so Dr. Tuli is going to share a little bit with us about that. And I would ask if Jean would rise as well and come forward.
Come forward,
Yeah.
please, Jean. So you can see that Jean and me, although this is just a shawl, right? But it's from, sorry, forgot again. This is from the state of Meghalaya, which is in northeast India. So you got to go past the Triangle of India, over Bangladesh, and to far northeast India, where there are about 7 or 8 states, right? And you can see similarities in colors. Kids call out colors, red and black and white and gold. And Reverend Robin and Reverend Mary and Jean all have the same necklace, which was a gift from our partner congregation. And they're all held up in a pretty intricate, complicated way. Reverend Mary has a brooch. Reverend Robin, can you point to the safety pin? there's a safety pin over there, and Jean has a safety pin. So the idea is you can look, you can walk around and gaze, but don't tug. No pulling allowed, right? And it's all, they're all silk. So like you can ask if you can feel the material, but please don't tug. Because some things might happen that we don't want them to happen.
We live by the threads of community. This day is a very special day for so many reasons. We have a child dedication that we're very excited about. We're going to be sharing about our tri-partnership with Barote, Transylvania, and Jowai, India. And we have a special guest with us for the final Sunday of 3 for our special plate collection. Our plate collection has been taken up between Ramapo Muncie Lenape Nation and the New Jersey Environmental Justice Alliance. And today, we're very honored to have Melissa Miles here with us, Executive Director of the New Jersey Environmental Justice Alliance, to share with us the call for environmental justice and what we can do right here in New Jersey. Melissa, if you join us.
Good morning, everyone. I love seeing so many children. It makes me miss having kids on my lap. It makes me want to take some of your children and hold them for you. Yes. All, really, it really, really does. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I mean, there were definitely moments in my life where others, unexpectedly supported me as a parent. So I always try to look to do the same. So yes, introducing myself, I am Melissa Miles. I am a Summit resident now for 2.5 years. I'm also the executive director of the New Jersey Environmental Justice Alliance. My pronouns are she and her. Thank you all for having me here today to talk a little bit about our work and to thank you all for once again supporting our work. This is the second year that I think we've come in front of you. Last year, I couldn't make it. It was my son's birthday, but I sent a video, and I'm so happy to be here in person with you all today. So how many of you have heard of environmental justice just by a raise of the hand? Oh, cool. So we are kindred here. And, for those of you that haven't, environmental justice is part of the larger environmental movement, and it really came about when Black communities in the South, many of them who were unincorporated and didn't have the protection of their municipalities or their governments, began to see that they were the recipients of toxic waste coming from different industries. So trucks would literally come dumping toxic waste on communities in the South. Even today, there are places, particularly in the southern part of the country, like Texas and Louisiana, where we have places called Cancer Alley and the Toxic Donut. New Jersey has our very own version of that, which is called Chemical Corridor, which is Doremus Avenue in Newark. So what links all these communities is that generally they are communities of color, they may be low-income communities, they may be linguistically isolated. The number one factor on whether or not a person lives close to environmental pollution is race. It remains the number one factor. So even, and Black people still remain the population of the United States that is most likely to be breathing toxic air or air pollution, regardless of income. So it's very much a justice-related issue when you're talking about air pollution, but living in New Jersey, you're getting your share no matter where you are. We have the industrial legacy of the entire region right here in New Jersey. We have the region's largest incinerator in Newark. We have the region's largest sludge plant in Newark. We have the refinery in Linden. So New Jersey, unfortunately, has been and continues to be the site of some very toxic polluting industries. The good news is the technology exists already to move us away from some of these industries. What we need more of is political will and people power. So I'm happy to announce that as of 2 Mondays ago, the nation's strongest environmental justice law has finally been enacted here in New Jersey. And yes, you can applaud. What I would like to say about that law is that it took over 12 years for that law. It was first introduced by Loretta Weinberg when she was a senator. It died on Christie's desk, and then it was reintroduced in 2020 with the help of organizations like mine who helped to make the law the strongest possible. So it protects over 300 New Jersey communities, and it gives the Department of Environmental Protection, finally, the regulatory ability to just say no to more pollution in overburdened communities. It's the only law of its kind in the United States, and right here in New Jersey is where it was enacted. So I think that's something that we should all be very proud of. And just one last point on how we got to the finish line with this law so that we can really understand how much of a role justice plays here. So the law, the original law, or the bill rather, it was in jeopardy of being watered down, becoming weaker, not being as protective. We were in a lot of debates with the governor's office and with the Department of Environmental Protection. And then, I think what no one was expecting was, the Black Lives Matter movement happened, right? And people around the country began to really take note of the situation of Black communities in the United States. And suddenly, I Can't Breathe meant both, police, being conscientious of the role and that police have in Black communities, but also conscientious of the role of pollution in Black community. I Can't Breathe meant both suddenly, and for one of the first times, the governor came out in support of a bill before it became law. So in 2020, on Juneteenth, he spoke about the law and in support of the law. He rarely does that. Right? So suddenly, we had all the political will we needed to get that bill across the finish line. And what's important is that people who love justice never drop that banner. For 12 years, we never stopped talking about cumulative impacts. And so, if there's one thing that I want to say to you all that I'm sure you know, is that justice doesn't come quickly. It doesn't come easily. But for those of us that are willing to continue to carry that banner, I know that eventually we do see change. Thank you all so much for having me here today.
Our morning's offering will now be gratefully received.
Good morning. My name is Misa Iwama. I'm the Director of Music Ministry, and I'm so delighted to welcome Rosina Hill-Jackson and Jason Jackson to help us with our music today and to lift our spirits. You'll also be hearing from Jean Crichton later in the service, as she will be singing as well.
Je t'aime, te amo, ya te via le blue, ani o hebedaka, I love you. The sounds are all as different as the lands from which they came, and though our words are all unique, our hearts are still the same. Love in any language, straight from the heart, pulls us all together, never apart. And once we learn to speak it, all the world will hear. Love in any language is fluently spoken here. the young, our differences, yet look how we're the same. We love to laugh, we dream our dreams, we know the sting of pain. From Leningrad to Lexington, the farmer loves his land, and parents all get misty-eyed to give their children's hand. Oh, maybe when we realize how much there is to share, we'll find too much in common to pretend it isn't there. Love in any language, straight from the heart, pulls us all together, never apart. And once we learn to speak it, all the world will hear. Love in any language is fluently spoken here. Though the rhetoric of government may keep us worlds apart, there's no misinterpreting the language of the heart. Love in any language, straight from the heart, pulls us all together, never apart. And once we learn to speak it, all the world will hear. Love in any language, it's fluently spoken here. Love in any language, it's fluently spoken here. Love in any language, it's fluently
Thank you so much for that beautiful music. So I have the joyous responsibility of sharing with you the words of my good friend, Andrea Bardos. Andrea is a member of the Unitarian congregation of Barot, Transylvania, Romania. She was one of the members of that congregation who traveled with us in India. And she shares her narrative of our partnership and our travels. Last fall, Beacon Unitarian Universalist Congregation and the Unitarian Congregation of Barot celebrated 30 years of partnership. Woo. Yeah. Yeah. We also have a 4-year partnership with the Unitarian Congregation of Jowai in East India, and the 3 churches meet monthly on Zoom. Last fall, the Jowai Church invited members from Beacon and from Barot to come for a homestay and visit. This resulted in 4 members from Beacon and 3 members from Barot arriving in East India this past March 8th for a 12-day trip. We were met at the local airport by church members who took us on the 6-hour bumpy journey to Jowai in the state of Meghalaya with temperatures in the mid-80s. By the way, the day that we took that bumpy journey was Holi, the holiday of Holi. It's pretty amazing. Meghalaya offered many beautiful sights. It has many mountains and borders on Bangladesh. There are over 40 Unitarian churches, and our host church had over 1,000 members. The official language is English, but the Kazi language is dominant in the region. 3/4 of the population is Christian, and their unusual tradition is that only women can inherit property. Outside of our excursions to the state capital and the countryside, we ate and stayed with different host families. Our hosts took time off from work to be with us and to show us their sights. Although most of the local people were poor, our hosts were middle class and had large homes. 9 Unitarian churches were visited during the trip. The people we met were very welcoming, gave receptions in our honor, and wanted to get to talk with us. We visited many natural sites, including a 2-story bridge made solely out of living tree roots, which required a 2-hour descent of 3,500 steps each way to sea. We went boating on the Daki River, famous for its crystal clear waters. We visited the Masmai Cave, full of Stone Age fossils, and the Nokalkai waterfall, with water falling from an altitude of 340 meters. This area gets the second most rain in the world, with an average of over 463 inches per year. Yeah, that's a lot of rain. The National Park of Kaziranga also made a deep impression on us. During the Jeep excursion, we saw the protected Indian rhinoceros, as well as wild buffalo, swamp deer, monkey, wild boar, Indian marabou, Asian spotted goshawk, vulture, and many other species of animals. The trip was an amazing opportunity for us to get to know our Indian and Barote partners. We made connections that embraced our similarities and recognized our differences that will continue to grow.
I'd like to call forward Jean Crichton to help us sing A Spirit of Life in 3 languages. You are up to the task.
So you should have all hopefully received this handout that has the different languages written out on it. And Jean has multiple specialties here at Beacon, but one is that she is the person that knows how to sing in these different languages.
Well,
so we'll
you
actually
can-
be doing 3 renditions.
You can learn. Okay, so the first one will be in Kasi, and the translation is by Dr. H.H. Mormon, who's one of the people we know very well from our Zoom meetings. Min Sem Jing Im To Wan Shana Wai Ha Do Nod Ki Jing Pin Ki Min Sam Snolem Be Ha Kale Per Ha Drio Ki Ha Ling Ha Ban Pin Wan Or Jing Im Ba Ho Tate Bud Yana Tum Yang Pin Light Min Same Jing Im Wan Shana Wan Shana. So next we're going to sing in Hungarian, and this is one that we've in our congregation we've sung this in Hungarian many times. So I hope that you're all going to sing out with it. You know, it is. These are tough languages, really. Isten lelke let's sing the song in English, which is what it was written in, okay? We're changing the key a bit. Spirit of life, come unto me. Sing in my heart all the stirrings of compassion. Blow in the wind, rise in the sea, move in the hand, giving life the shape of justice. Roots hold me close, wings set me free. Spirit of life, come to me, come to me. Thank you very much.
So today, we honor and affirm the presence of new life in our community. I'd like to call forward Tony and Lon, Lily and Lonnie, and baby Brendan, please. And we're going to come all the way up. There you go. Hi, Lonnie. How you doing? Lily, how you doing? Okay. For over 100 years, parents like you have brought their babies into this sanctuary to be dedicated by this community. Just like it was long ago, it is your presence and your intentions this day that make this space sacred. And so I ask you, Tony and Lon, what have you named this child?
Brendan
Wonderful.
Brendan Alexander O'Sullivan.
Thank you, Lonnie.
Good job.
Beloved, the O'Sullivan family would never have guessed that this little guy was destined to arrive in 2022, not with his January 20th due date, but he showed signs he wanted to arrive early and party, a typical New Year's Eve baby. Their journey to welcoming him was long and challenging at times. So today they are overwhelmed with gratitude and joy.
A little about his name. Brendan is named for my mother, Brenda. If you are blessed to know Brenda, you know we hope and pray he inherits many of her beautiful qualities, including her faithfulness, her resilience, her thoughtful and caring demeanor, and her smarts.
Brendan is also named for my father, Michael, as Brendan is his middle name. Those who know my dad know that he's reflective and a thoughtful learner that has overcome many challenges in his own life, including overcoming challenges with addiction. A few days ago, my dad actually just celebrated 30 years of sobriety, which is an incredible accomplishment, and Tony and I hope that Brendan demonstrates this type of resilience and achievement in his own life.
Michael and Brenda are both active, service-oriented members of the many communities that they belong to. And we hope that Brendan also grows to embody the loyalty and love for others that these people demonstrate.
You guys are very entertaining today. Brendan means brave in Gaelic, and we hope that his courageousness takes him far, leading him down many exciting paths and adventures in learning and reflection.
Brendan's middle name, Alexander, is the last name of Lon's maternal side of the family that we are also very, very close to. It's also a nod to my father, Alex.
Like our inspiring family, we hope that Brendan has the fortitude to overcome the challenges that are thrown his way, the humor to come joyfully through it all, and the closely knit ties of family that provide a comforting and predictable net of safety, connection, and support.
Alexander is the Latin variant of the Greek name Alexandros, which means defender. Given my career and work as an educator, it's also appealing to think that Brendan might be similarly called to mission-driven heart work.
Lily, Lonnie, she's over there somewhere. And it's also her 4th birthday today, if you couldn't tell by the hat that she's wearing.
Happy birthday!
She's now officially 4 years old.
High five.
And still acting like a 4-year-old. Tony and I are very happy that our family is now complete. We want to thank our friends, our family, and all of you so much for all the continued love, prayers, and support you've given to our family.
Okay. Now let's see if we'll switch. I'll put this down here. There we go. Here we go. All right, I'm gonna have you hold the bowl. Can you hold the bowl? Let's see. What do you think?
He's pretty chill.
Oh, you are pretty chill. Are you pretty chill? I think you're pretty chill. Brendan Alexander O'Sullivan, knowing the strength of the ancestors as we call your name, may you know the love in your namesake, and may you journey with confidence. These waters, beloved, have been gathered across 29 water ceremonies. Our annual ritual of ingathering, where each member and friend brings waters of significance to a common vessel. Each year, we mingle the waters gathered that year with the ones from the previous years, forming the waters of our community. Brendan, as I touch these waters to your forehead, we offer the intention that your mind will always be open to ask questions, to explore this world of ours, and to be unafraid to offer us a powerful vision. May your heart, beneath that very cute bow tie, may I add, may your heart be nourished by the love of this community and the ones who care abundantly for you. May this heart continue to know joy. May your feet travel the pathways of peace, showing us new roads ahead and discovering many adventures. And beloved Brendan, may these hands hold the ones who love you, knowing the security of true companions on this blue spinning ball we call home.
Lon and Tony, we affirm today your immense responsibility as parents to Brendan. It will be your task in the years to come to share your stories, rituals, and hopes with Brendan, to gift him love that will allow him to find his path. Will you both accept this charge to the best of your abilities?
We will. All right, Lily and Lonnie. You will forever be Brendan's big sisters. You know that, right?
Yes.
So everything he's going to be learning, he's going to see it from you first. You're going to be the one showing him how to walk, how to talk, how to go to school. But Lily and Lonnie, before everybody here, well, he doesn't have a backpack yet, but you'll help him shop for one when it's time.
My backpack, I have a new backpack, a unicorn.
I love it.
But I'm taking it to school.
Well, yeah, sometimes you don't have to share your backpack with Brendan, but show him how to shop for one that he likes too. Lily, before all these people present, will you teach Brendan how to love the moon and back by being that loving to him? To the moon and back? If you do, say, we will.
We will.
I'd like to invite forward now Joanna and Lee, please. Do you want to take So Lee and Joanna, you have been chosen by Lon and Tony to be Brendan's godparents. They have called you into this role knowing that you can be a role model, Lee, for health, strength, and your commitment to excellence. And Joanna, be a role model of what it is to be a justice seeker, a healer in the world. And that together you both will offer non-stop love and support to Brendan. Will you both accept this charge to the best of your abilities?
Absolutely.
We will.
I'd like to invite Brendan's family and friends, extended family, related family, please rise as you are able. So to all of you, Brendan's family and friends, parents, Lon and Tony, cannot raise a child alone. As it is often said, it takes a village. Will you promise to be part of that village, to prepare him to find his path, to build a loving, supportive community that can nurture him in his search for truth? Will you all accept this charge to the best of your abilities? If so, please say we will.
All right. Could all the children in our congregation please stand? That means everybody under the age of 18. You all are the closest in age to little Brendan, and you'll be working and playing with him during his time here. As Brendan grows, he's gonna look up to each and every one of you. So will you speak with him with kindness, treat him with patience and fairness, and welcome him into your circle of friends? If so, please answer yes. Yes. Way to go, kids.
And Beacon, our congregation, please would you rise as you are able. We as a congregation also pledge, this always makes me weep, pledge our commitment to little Brendan. Will you take upon yourselves the privilege and responsibility of helping to nurture the life and spirit of each child? Will you pledge your love and care to teaching our children and welcoming them into our congregational family? Please say we will.
We will. Now, beloved, may the love that is our source, and if you would reach out to one another, may the love that is our source and our common destiny sustain and hold you as it holds us all, most especially this day, Brendan Alexander O'Sullivan. Amen, and blessed be.
I'd like to invite forward Sean Jordan to lead us in our candle lighting. And kids, after you've lit your candle, you're welcome to come downstairs and join your adult guides and Miss Jermaine and me. I got it right, did I? Yes, I got it right.
So exciting. Good morning, Beacon. My name is Sean Jordan. I most often go by the pronouns he, him, and I am a member of our Beacon chaplain team. Our role as chaplains is to extend the spiritual care of this community, and we define spiritual care as intentional compassion through presence and listening. We recognize that everyone needs care at different points in our lives, and we offer ourselves as a resource for deep listening, and in that listening provide a foundation for healing. All conversations are held in strict confidence, and if you have a question about our chaplain program, please see me after the service or any member of our ministry team. And whether you're with us in the sanctuary or joining us virtually, you can learn more about the chaplain program on the Beacon website. Just look on the homepage under the tab marked Heal the World. Another way we extend the spiritual care of our community is by facilitating our weekly candle lighting. Together, we light candles of joy, sorrow, and gratitude. This morning, we light a candle of joy and gratitude as we celebrate the congressional tripartnership between our community here in Summit and our partner congregations in Barot, Transylvania, and Jowai, India. We light a candle of grace for Joel Buckner as she and her mother move her father into a memory care facility. We light a candle of compassion for Chris Kellogg's brother, who recently entered hospice care. We light a candle of resistance as trans lives continue to be targeted by state legislators across the country. And in particular, we light this candle in solidarity with Representative Zoe Zephyr, a transgender legislator in Montana who has been exiled from the Republican-controlled state house after she made impassioned comments during the debate of a bill that would prohibit gender-affirming care for transgender minors in the state. And lastly, we light a candle of hope, as my family this past week welcomed the long-anticipated arrival of a newborn in our home. So many emotions. For those who might be unfamiliar with the process, adoption carries with it the risk of loss too during what is called the revocation period that follows the child's birth. But I have faith knowing that this community will hold this in your hearts as we wait with cautious optimism for the next month to pass, at which point we can relinquish that worry and truly celebrate the connection of this child with our home and our family. For this and so much more, we invite you to light a candle of your own. For those joining virtually, this may be a candle on your home altar. And for those in the sanctuary, I invite you now to come forward for our community candle lighting.
I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and for you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful I see skies of blue, clouds of white, the bright blessed day, the dark sacred night, and I think to myself, what I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful the colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also in the faces of people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Ooh, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Invite Jean Creighton forward again to share some reflections.
Well, earlier today, I gave a little talk about my Kearshaw. And so if you have any questions about that, you can come and ask me. Because this time, I'm going to talk about a church service that was important. We were taking these, we were on this caravan going around the whole area from church to church. And one night, it was like maybe 4:30 in the afternoon, and we came to this church called Makasiong, into this small village. And they parked the cars at the bottom, and we went up these very narrow, steep stairs, no railing, and people were always helping me, which I appreciated, which I tried to be kind about because I thought didn't need it, but I did need it. And so anyway, we get up to the top of the hill where this small church was, really small frame church, but with a flaming chalice painted above the door. And a kind of shy young woman with one of these Kearshaws, but hers was yellow and black, greeted us outside, and there were about, I don't know, there were about 15, 20 people with us, our whole party. So we went into the church, and Robin spoke, and the minister for that area, Reverend Lalu, spoke. And I noticed a plaque on the wall that said that the church was built with the help of the partnership of Ann Arbor, Michigan. So that was really kind of interesting. And and they really had quite a link with Ann Arbor. So then we left, and we were standing out in the front of the church, and it was getting dark, and children were coming from the houses around there and talking to us and playing and stuff. And then we went back down the steps, and we got into the cars, and we went into the center of Cherrapunji, which was actually the birthplace of the founder. And then we found out that, oh no, we were going to go back to that church because one of the women in the congregation had invited us to her house for tea. It was dark then. By that time it was dark. And I think we were all thinking, what? So, but we did. We got back into the cars, and these were not short. It was like 20 minutes, half an hour to get to it. I'm not sure. But so we went into the house, which that one was more on the street level. And we went, it was a big living room for the house. And they got chairs and they put them around the outside of the room, into a circle. Some people sat on the floor, and we were talking, and she brought out tea with little crackers, like little cookies, which we were hungry because it was, 6, 7 o'clock. I don't know what time it was. And then we realized this is the sort of thing that they do in their church. They have home church occasions. Every Sunday, some people go out and are in these houses together. And these people that were on our trip, they knew these churches. It wasn't that they were just some small churches out someplace. And no, they knew them. They had been there for these same kinds of home services. And then, as we tried to be talking more, we started to sing, and I believe we sang "You Are My Sunshine." I'm not quite sure what it was, but other people seemed to know it, and there was a little more conversation, and then we stayed, I'd say, maybe 45 minutes there before we went back, and that was, it was really, I can't remember the details, I wish I could, but it was a very meaningful thing and showed us about their traditions, which are different from ours, but still have the friendship and love that we like to talk about. Sorry.
We're going to sing hymn 1009. That's in the Teal hymnal. It's the meditation on breathing. And we can remain seated for this. It's 1009.
Breathe
Good morning. My name is Eric Solberg. My pronouns are he, him. One purpose of our trip to India was to visit other Unitarian churches, as you've heard. And getting settled in our homestay, after a few days, we went on a 3-day excursion into parts of the state that we were in. We set out on a caravan of 7 of us from Beirut and Beacon, and 9 people from the local area there who just attached themselves to us and were wonderful. And we headed toward the border with Bangladesh and went for a boating trip, as you'll see on some of the slides here. But after that, we visited the first of 3 churches. And it was a small, very small concrete building, maybe 20 by 20 feet inside. This was called the Sopra Fellowship. And for the past 20 years, 2 extended families had operated this church for them. It wasn't called a church there, it was called a fellowship because it was so small. But it gives you a good idea of the range of different options you have for ministry and having a religious life in India. After that, we went to a very large church. It was in Nong Talong Unitarian Church. They were successful. They had a lot of members. They had just built a new church. They're a multi-story building. They had been operating since 1888, 1 year after the church we visited in Jowai. So the tradition there really goes back a very long time. This church was festively decorated. It would have been like here. There were Christmas lights all over the whole sanctuary, strands coming down, sparkling all over the place. And it was a crowd of people that were there to welcome us and talk to us. And these conversations were informal at this church, but other times they were more formal. We talked about what we did personally, what parts about our church, maybe the way we work with youth as well, which is important to me. The town was interesting as well. As we left the church, going on to the third church, another church had a wedding, and it spilled out onto the street. So imagine coming onto a village or a small town, and all these people are partying in party dress going on, and we just lingered to watch that. Our next and final stop of the day was the Padu Unitarian Church. It was founded in 1911. It was quite a distant trip, no matter where we were coming from. We drove 2 hours on a 2-lane highway, and you've heard about these bumpy roads there. And then we had to do 4 miles on a dirt road to get to there. We came to a plateau at the top of a mountain. Our local host told us that the land around there was not good for farming. And this was a poor village that had been there a long time. And I wondered why it was still there, because it was just a little more desolate type place. But after it was now getting dark. And we're coming to this town. It's a pretty dark area. We find where the church is, and we go into go through a little gateway and into a compound. And I thought we were late. You know, who's going to be here now? It's dark. But as the headlights came in, we shone on about 30 children and their parents and a number of other adults just standing in front of the church looking at us like this. I was in the first car, and my instinct was to just get out and go up to them and thank them and say hi and buoyant and hi. And then as soon as the kids started giving high fives and low fives and up and thumbs up, everybody was smiling, and it was just so they were welcoming us and we were welcoming them to do that. The other cars came by and we walked into the church. There wasn't much of a service planned, but there was a very, what would you say? Over the top choir director. We have an overtop one too. Just amazing. And I said, do you have a choir? And he said, yeah, we have a choir. I said, could you really sing? Could you sing for us? So we gave some introductions. We said a few things. They hadn't planned too much here because it's a very simple church. And he gets up, and you'll see the video in a minute of some of the songs. 2 songs in English. The kids were mouthing what the choir director was saying. Infectious, enthusiastic, and you'll see what I mean in a minute. I don't know if they were more happy to see us or we were more happy to see them. At other churches we visited, we had discussions with church members about lots of things. As I said, the way we do religious education, the way we try to hold on to youth, how our high schools are attached here. We talked about the social programs and economic issues that are in that area of India, which is tremendous. The Jowai Church sponsors it's an NGO there that sponsors many economic and development issues in the community. And we're very proud that the Jowai Church does that, and they reach out themselves. So it's on a very high level. However, the experience at the Purdue Church hit me in a different way than the connections and the conversations I had with most of our hosts, and it really made a lot to me. And that making connections and maintaining that is just a very unique thing that we do. And you've heard it exemplifies this trip, and it's been very important to me. Thank you.
You remember now? Come on, don't answer. Okay, one more song. Come go with me to that land. Mom, come go with me to that land where I'm bound. Yes. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land. Come go with me to that land where I'm bound.
Oh, isn't that wonderful, beloved? Warms my heart every single time. And I've watched it about 20 times. I'm Reverend Robin. My pronouns are she, her, member of your lead ministry team here. And this morning, Beacon, I'm looking for permission to go about 20 minutes over. Are we okay? Till 12:20, 11 more minutes. Can you stay with me for 11 minutes? We move by consensus here. So if you say no, we'll just end right now. All right. A little amen would help, but that's okay. Oh, there we go. All right. It was Aristotle who said friendship is essentially a partnership. And after our trip to India, I think the same can be said of partnership. True abiding partnership is the deepening of friendship. It is, in the words of Bell Hooks, love in action. So why exactly did we travel on a plane for 15 hours, spend the night in Delhi, rise to get on another plane for 2.5 hours, followed by a 6-hour car drive? Was it just the idea of friendship through partnership that led us on that journey? Certainly, we traveled to deepen relationships formed across 2+ years over Zoom in a pandemic. We are one of the only, as far as we know, tri-partnerships in the Unitarian Universalist Association: Barote, Transylvania; Jowai, India; Summit, New Jersey. And we formed our partnership just as the body that helps Unitarian Universalists establish partnerships dissolved. And we began in the early phases of the pandemic, uncertain of if we would ever meet one another face to face. We traveled in part drawn by the relationship with our siblings in Barote, a partnership kindled now over 30 years. Because we know as a covenantal faith, a faith about the sacred agreements we make to be in relationship with one another and with all life and earth herself, that relationship is a primary, if not the only way we live out our faith as Unitarian Universalists. We have learned that being in relationship across cultures and within a covenant can deepen our spirituality, can transform our communities. We ask questions and we learn from one another things that we could never understand alone. As Eric shared, we have struggled together as partners in the midst of what it means to be in a pandemic, struggled with the iniquity magnified by that pandemic, struggled in conversations about racism and the rise of nationalism globally, about LGBTQ inclusion, about how it is we are developing and supporting our children and youth. And in so doing, we grant one another courage, continents apart, perhaps because of the sheer impossibility that our relationship exists at all. And children sing songs from our hymnal and invite us into the attire of the Khasi people, welcoming us into their homes, robing us in the richness of partnership, of friendship. So yes, we travel for friendship. We also partner to understand Unitarian Universalism a bit more by studying the indigenous movements of Unitarianism in Transylvania and in Northeast India. The founder of Unitarianism there, Hajam Kishore Singh, founding Unitarianism at the age of 22. I feel very behind in my life when I learned that fact. We partner to see how this faith of discernment arose within different cultures, histories, and languages, and yet still seeking Tonang Roy progress, a shared truth that arises from the conscience and continues to evolve. And as we sing songs together, share in the practices of prayer and service, as we are taught about Hajam Kishore Singh, it would be easy in those exchanges to focus on all that we do not share, all that is different. But beloved, in our journey, what I think we were most touched by and continue to see magnified is all that we share. A yearning to seek the truth in love, a yearning to live in accord with that great love with all beings and earth herself. There are many stories that I could tell from our time in India, but I would exceed my 11-minute permission. Like the time that I asked Juban, one of our members who is well-traveled, multilingual, if she knew what pancakes were. And rather than chastise me for coming in with the perception of a colonizer, she graciously laughed and turned it into a learning moment. And every time we had a cultural confrontation, shall we say, or judgment, she would simply smile and say, "Pancakes." Or when I couldn't quite figure out in a very formal church in Shillong how to get to the lectern from the opposite side of the chancel where I was, and I thought that the shortest path was between a table that was there and a chair it turned out to be the moderator's chair that no one ever crosses or touches, a chair that I moved while the moderator was trying to sit in it. Humility is good in partnership. Or learning that our partners in Jowai did not want our money, and in fact, our perception that we would go as Americans and give them money was embedded in our own prejudice. In fact, they are leaders in their community of many, many social change and justice endeavors. No, they said, don't give us your money. Help us learn about your lifespan teaching. Help us learn about your youth group, and let us teach you about how we gather here. Or the vulnerability. When any of us got sick or hurt or unsure, instantly there would be someone there with a medicine we did not know what it was, but took, something to eat, to raise the blood sugar, or just the patience to listen when we were out of sorts. Or the 3,500 steps to see a double-decker tree root bridge, a bridge made entirely from tree roots. Or witnessing the rhino who was more majestic than I could have imagined, almost luminescent in the rising sun. Or the singing in homes with small cups of red tea and biscuits, in churches around every dusty road, in the cars with the windows rolled down as the hilly, though they were mountains by our standards, as the air flowed through, or out in Cherrapunji over a sweet glass of wine, watching the sun disappear one more day with an abundance of confidence in its return. So yes, we partner to deepen our spirituality, for friendship, to learn across cultures and continents how to be better humans together. And that, beloved, seems worth far more than 15 hours, a night in Delhi, a 2.5-hour flight, a 6-hour car drive, and 2 years of Zoom calls across 3 time zones. Thank you.
All right. Our closing hymn is number 1018. It's Come and Go With Me to That Land, which you just heard the children sing, and now we're going to sing it ourselves here in Summit. Let's say, before we do that, thank you to Jason and Rosina. Thank you to Jean Crichton. Thank you to our AV team for helping us bring our sound out into the world, including to India. And I would say I love being part of a community that has music as part of it. We do have an afternoon music concert next Sunday, so I hope that you will come to that. Actually, one of the people that's performing is a friend of Rosina and Jason's, a very well-known jazz bassist. So please come to that concert, and in the meantime, let's sing Come and Go With Me to That Land. Yeah, please stand in body or spirit as you are able.
Come and go with me to that land. Come and go
fellow travelers, I invite you to join hands and hearts across this space. And as you do so, I invite you to imagine the hands and hearts that join across the world and the miles. Our faith steeps in history, speaks many languages, and travels many roads.
Our shared light burns brighter in all the souls who carry it, in every corner, across every sea.
Together, may we shine our light and lessons into a hurting world. Amen.
Amen.